You're listening to From a Certain Point Askew, the only Star Wars podcast to not have one but two timeshares on the Galaxy's Edge Starcruiser. The assets are strong with this podcast. I am Jason the Angry Ginger Jedi Guy. I'm broadcasting live from inside my very own Wookiee Poo Studios. I'm not alone. On the computer monitors, broadcasting live from Yavin 72 is Darth Mathias, and boy, does he have a bug up his ass. Go ahead, Darth. Tell us what's happening.
Whoa. Do I? Do I have a bug up my ass? Are there 72 Yavins?
Oh, there is
that'd
now.
Be amazing. I hate to take it down a notch.
Oh.
But we got to kick things off with a sad note. We lost somebody in the Star Wars family this week.
We did.
That was really sad and shocking. R.I.P. Ray Stevenson.
No more so than him. He was really shocked by it.
I'm sure he was very shocked. Yeah, it sounds like he was filming in Italy, doing a new movie. Got sick, a few days later, dead.
That's all that's been released, right? I haven't looked at anything today, so I haven't seen if they, because usually sometimes they'll, those trades, they like to fucking be the first on it. So they're like, oh, he died. We have no idea how. And that seems to be the case, other than they knew he was hospitalized with some kind of illness. But if it comes back like he died of, the common cold or something.
Yeah, I think we got it covered, just posted. I'm just kidding. I know how you feel about that website. No, sad though, only 58 years old. And I mean, a really cool, intriguing looking character that's coming up in Ahsoka. It's like, well, shit. It made me think about that. Any types of productions like that. Like it made me think back to Christopher Lee and all the stuff that he was in late in his run, like Dooku and all that stuff. Like he was way up there.
Yeah.
So do you think they have conversations where they're like, well, that's 2 years out. Is he still good? You know what I mean? I
mean, this is the first time, other than like Mark Hamill getting into that accident, right, and having reconstructive surgery on his face pre-Return of the Jedi. This is like the biggest thing that sort of happened in this world, where like something has happened to a character. Well, I'm sorry,
Carrie Fisher.
Yeah. Well, they fixed that with Jesus Christ Space Superstar. So
sure, but yeah, it certainly makes you shift. Whatever the plan was for him, because it looked like that's a character that who knows what they're going to do with him in this season, but it looks like a character we would be seeing down the road.
He's so fucking menacing too. Like, he plays a great villain. So I have to imagine they either, one, he was a great villain and he got a really good death in Ahsoka, or Favloni was like, we're going to have this guy for years. Yeah. And then, Graybeard kicks the bucket. So it's a fucking bummer. He was a presence on everything I've ever seen him in. And it was exciting to see him just in that trailer. Like, oh, he's going to be a good villain.
Yeah, and I think he had said some comment about how his character, he's like not all good, not all bad.
Yeah,
which is a kind of a fun little enigma that he was creating there. So, I mean, I'm real interested to see what they do with that character, and not just this season, but going forward, how they're going to handle that. But rest in peace. That just sucks.
I hear that if they have to, they're going to go back and kind of do like what they did with Christopher Plummer over Kevin Spacey. Only they're going to have Kevin Spacey come back and...
Oh, God. What a redemption story that would be, wouldn't it?
It's been like 7 years, right? It's time for him to come out of Hollywood
Has it
jail.
been that long?
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't feel like it hasn't been that long. That wound is still fresh.
Not even 5 minutes in, and I'm nailing the bad jokes. Go ahead.
Yeah. If you would like to find our show from a certain point askew.com, we're on Twitter at FACPApod, and you can email us facpapod@gmail.com.
Come find us, people. But on the show today, we have a question of the week. Immersive Star Wars, take two. In the news, two things. Return of Padme. I think we talked about this before with the cloning and stuff. Or no, that was where she had triplets. Little known fact, but that's still coming out. That book is yet to come out. It was held. Right. Also, Book of Boba Fett 2, Volume 2. This is new to me, so I'm excited to see what you have to tell me about this. All X-Wings report in. That's our big topic today. We're going to talk our favorite X-Wing pilots. Mm-hmm. And then we've got, holy shit, 9 emails in the Maul Bag? What is going on? All right, cool. Is that a fucking typo?
No.
9 emails?
You'll see.
Okay.
There's some cleverness going on there. News dropped last week about the closing of the Galactic Starcruiser, as you alluded to in your intro.
Yeah.
It's going to wrap up at the end of September, so we're not going to make it.
No.
It lasted basically a year and a half in the end. Two things that I thought about on this before we get into our question of the week. One was, how big is that party going to be, that last crew? I mean, it is going to be drunk as fuck. That cantina is going to be flying.
It's going to be Star Wars Caligula.
It is.
Yeah.
It's going to be amazing. Unfortunately, that part is already sold out. That last weekend or whatever is already sold out. I was like, damn, that's the one you want to get in on. You want to be there for the end when they just rip shit off the walls and stuff.
Fuckfest 2023.
You guys can fire these guns are actually real.
All the robes are coming off.
But the other thing is, and we had talked about this before, obviously the price tag was too high. Like you're going to have a surge early on because you got a bunch of people with money. I mean, Disneyland's expensive as shit anyway.
Yeah.
But you're going to have people who are wanting to do it, so they're in and they'll do it early.
Yep.
But to sustain that is just incredibly difficult. $5,000 for 2 nights, that's tough to pull off.
Who do you think was the guy that initially greenlit that? And do you think he still has a job? Or woman?
Is it one of those people that got ousted when Iger came back? It could be,
yeah. Well, I have to imagine this thing was in like, previs, like long before Iger left the first time.
It could have been. It certainly, yeah. I mean, it would make sense in the timeline for sure. But I just there were numbers that were run, there were focus groups that were had. There were, things that were done that were, these steps along the way to justify building this thing. Mm-hmm. Maybe in the end, somebody just said, you know what, fuck it. Let's take a wild swing and see if this works. Because if it pays off, it's going to be great. And then right when it opens, they're like booking up for fucking months. Everything's going great. And then all of a sudden, a few months later, like, so all those bookings kind of dried up, and not dried up completely, but they changed their schedule. Remember, they were doing like 3 or 4 a week to then only 2 a week and stuff. They were really trying to have to alter it just to make it work.
They should have just opened it up like it was part of the park, right? And then people who wanted to stay in it could, but then you could still get people going through, hanging out in the bars or taking part of the attractions, just like part of Galaxy's Edge. It wouldn't be as immersive, but I think you'd get enough traffic going through there, and the hotel stays. I don't know, comparatively, like to the other hotels, they'd probably have to drop the price a little bit. But I think, like, I know they have a lot of employees, like people running around that were taking part of that, and they have their, but
the thing that's saddest is the fact that these people that had these jobs are no longer going to have these jobs. Now, granted, they're saying they're going to relocate them. But it's like, is there going to be like some poor guy like scooping poop on the Starlight Parade? And like, he's like, a week ago, I was a captain on the fucking Starcruiser.
Well, this hotel is just going to be overhauled. It's going to be completely gutted and turned into another hotel. And then all those people can have jobs again.
Turn into another hotel or turn into some other ride.
Right.
That's part of Galaxy's Edge, I mean, it would have been funny though, like you said, if they opened it up more. Could you imagine if you were still on the, like, you had paid the $5,000, then all the fucking riffraff shows up and you're like, God damn it.
I'm waiting for Favloni to like take some, third-hand character that only exists at that park that no one even knows about and turns him into like a real character in Mandalorian season 5.
Shit, it could happen.
Yeah.
He likes to borrow.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, all that being said, with the Galactic Starcruiser set to be scuttled later this year, what other immersive Star Wars experiences should be considered in the future? Was our question of the week. Mm-hmm. So Records of the Republic says definitely changing it from a hotel to a Star Wars cruise ship. Seems like a missed opportunity since you'd actually be going on a voyage. The high seas. Then you've got Slewfoot Fred, your favorite name. Star Wars version of the Hunger Games. All the Star Wars weapons with the ferocity and insanity of that competition.
Yeah, give like everybody gets a real lightsaber.
Woo, that could get out of hand. That's what I'm saying. It's going to happen that last weekend. It's going to be like that.
Yep.
Nude Gun Ray.
I love that name.
Says something that people can afford would be a good start. Also, Star Wars themed laser tag. I like this idea, although I feel like it would run out pretty soon. Like, there's only so many rounds you could do where you're like, okay, right. I want to do something else now.
That's a big laser tag course. Imagine if they were like, okay, no more $5,000 for people to stay 2 nights and this all immersive whatever. We're going to turn the whole hotel into a fucking laser tag course. That's just part of your entry fee.
This, by the way, spawned, Nude Gun Ray's post spawned a bunch of responses, so I was going to share some of them.
Okay.
Trevor Norman says, a rigged laser tag that if you're on the Stormtrooper side, you always miss, even if you're point blank. And then also said, I mean, with the hotel closing, they can focus on all the character interactions that were promised for the land instead of being behind a very expensive paywall. That's a fair point.
Yeah.
Because you've been to Galaxy's Edge, right?
No, I haven't yet.
I thought you had done it already.
No, I haven't.
Okay, because they do have characters running around. There's there's like an app and you can have plot lines where you join one side or the other and like people will talk to you and things like that.
Cool.
So it is somewhat immersive in that respect.
Yeah.
And walking into that space the first time I did it, there was no detail that was really overlooked.
Mm-hmm.
The whole place looks like fucking Star Wars. There's blaster, marks on the sides of buildings. Everything is really accounted for really well. But yeah, they could certainly go even more so, I think. Kyle responded to that and said, if the map is Scarif, everybody dies. And then Moser, I'm not sure how you say that. What about Jedi versus Stormtroopers laser tag? The Stormtroopers miss every other shot regardless of the individual's accuracy, but the Jedi can only repel the Stormtroopers' lasers back. They can't shoot their own. Too uncivilized.
I like this.
I like it. A lot of good ideas here for the laser tag. And finally, Dank Ferrick, which props for getting that fucking Twitter name locked up.
Yeah.
I'd like to see more cast members play acting around Galaxy's Edge, like a mock battle or something exciting.
I agree.
Because for now, you get like Kylo Ren walks around with a couple troopers and talks to you.
Yeah. Well, then they had didn't they have last summer, or was it last fall? They had the Mandalorian and Grogu walk around for a couple of weeks.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, they should like those planned events.
Yeah. And there's always a couple troopers that are wandering around and like standing on top of buildings, looking down and telling you to disperse and stuff. They're constantly harassing you. It's kind of funny. There was one person... Some kid, no, was it a kid? I think it was a kid maybe, just like was freaking out on these stormtroopers, like going crazy. And he's like, sir, you need to relax. It was pretty funny. Anyway, thank you for the answers for question of the week. On to the news.
All right, hit me with some Padme.
So Padme Amidala, back in Star Wars, ? We already cast her last week, though, in our Back to the Future style movie where, she makes out with Luke, right?
Yeah.
But the story here is that Natalie Portman was doing some sort of Reddit Q&A and was asked if she would ever play Padme again. And she said, quote, I have no information on this. I like how she starts it that way. I have no information on this. Okay. No one has ever asked me to return, but I'm open to it. Sounds very similar to a lot of people's comments that, previous actors. So how do you see this playing out? Is it like Kenobi season 2 and Vader actually brings her back to life? But maybe he brings her back to life and she's still kind of a lifeless being, like a Weekend at Bernie's scenario.
Oh, that would be awesome.
How did we not do Weekend at Bernie's last week?
Like carrying around my dead girlfriend?
Yeah. Fucking arms out like this. Oh my God. That'd be great. I think that was a missed opportunity. We should have done that one. But what other ways could
Weekend
she be
with
back?
my lying ex.
Yeah, oh no. Because we've seen her done in animation quite a bit, with Clone Wars, but like live action, like what's a way, like, 'cause there's no show that is on the horizon or exists currently where she would fit.
Right. I think if they delve back more into, like, if they do like a Kenobi season 2 or something, we get more Vader and they're doing the flashbacks and we're seeing Anakin. Yeah. Why not go back into that love story a little bit and maybe write it a little bit better?
Yeah. I think flashback is the only way you could do it now, unless they're going to come up with some other show.
Right. And then they show the delivery of the third child that no one knew about.
And they still show that angle where Bail Organa is looking right at her vajayjay as she's delivering.
Right.
That shot they show, they're like, what is he looking at right now?
I feel like maybe he was like, oh, I didn't expect to see that.
I did not mean to sit in this seat.
I know there's a lot of droids down there. I didn't know that's where babies came from, though.
He's never had his own children, so he's never,
right.
He doesn't know. Now, that'd be cool to have Natalie Portman back. It's been too long. I mean, the way they are bringing back people, even if it was like for a short scene, like you said, like a flashback moment or something, showing them doing the dishes after dinner one night and, her getting in a fight, something like that.
Well, she seems to have come around like years ago. It didn't seem like I know that she seemed to be against Thor, even to the point where when they did, was it Endgame, right? Where they all went, they do the time traveling during Endgame. All those, you hear her, or what is the scene they show, but it's all done through previously unused
Oh, she
material.
wasn't part of it.
Right. She didn't film anything for it. So, but she came back for the Thor movie. So then, maybe she's turned around a little bit, wants to have a little bit of fun with these movies. Plus, she's got a mortgage to pay too, and these movies pay pretty big.
They do. It reminded me of that the Saturday Night Live digital short when she does the rap.
Yes.
Where she's like, and Beck Bennett or whatever, I think is the guy interviewing her, and he's like, have you seen the sequel trilogy or the sequels? And she's like, no. And he's like, oh, it's great. It's so much better than that. She's like, then better than the what?
She fucking murders that too.
Yeah, she absolutely does. And what does she say? It's like, talk shit about the motherfucking prequels, bitch. It's like, oh, just so funny. Next item, Book of Boba Fett Volume 2.
Yeah.
So there was a recent interview with Ming Na Wen who was asked about the future of the Boba Fett series, and she said, quote, you know, he's this lord now of Tatooine, and he's managing to have some control, but he was trying to do it one way, and I'm not sure how effective it was. He was trying to have a greater honor system, and I would love to see that he turns back to a bit more like what Boba Fett was, music to Cole's ears. Also being able to maintain justice or accomplish what he needs to accomplish on Tatooine, and then ultimately just to have a lot of fun battle scenes. That is just spoken like a true Star Wars fan.
Yes.
I want Boba Fett back the way he was, and I want a lot of fighting. She is a total super fan, though. Like, she is a huge Star Wars fan, so that makes a lot of sense. It's also interesting because recently, like I think maybe a couple weeks ago, Robert Rodriguez had time to put down his guitar and make a couple comments about Book of Boba. And he said, I can't say I'm sworn to secrecy. I wish I could tell you. I know all the answers to what you're asking, but I can't say.
I mean, come on. There's more to come, obviously. Whether it's another Book of Boba Fett or, I mean, they're not done with that character. They can't be.
Can't be.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think there's going to be more there for sure. And we need to see more Fennec Shand. Fennec Shand's great.
And she's, shout out to her. She's getting star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame next week.
I know.
Right?
You always forget. She's been around for fucking ever.
Yeah,
I always
Joy
forget.
Luck Club.
Yeah, Joy Luck Club. Right. Exactly.
Yeah. That was the 90s. So she's
or late 80s. Yeah.
And she's maybe. Yeah. But I mean, yeah. So she's been in the business for quite a while, and it's hard to like you look at her and you don't think she's in her mid 50s, right?
I think she's almost 60.
Yeah.
She looks fantastic.
Yep.
I would take more of that for sure. Okay. That was it for news.
That's it.
Other than that bogus story I sent you this morning.
You know what? I was going to click on it, and I'm like, there's no point. I mean, this is just like, oh, look, it's clickbait.
It's total clickbait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's not been fucking casting for anything, let alone, we know for sure they're coming back for this new... No.
It's a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah.
So we rearranged our schedule a little bit this week and kind of came up with a different topic. And so we have decided we're going to look at the X-Wing pilots.
Yeah.
Kind of get into our favorites, maybe most memorable, and kind of some pros and cons of these pilots as well. So in looking into this a bit more, I found this link and I shared it with you. And oh my God, I felt like I was back at 40%.
Yeah, we definitely don't have 60% on this.
No.
Yeah.
I did not know a lot of these names.
Well, I mean, there's been X-Wing games and books and like all this shit. So like when you look at that list, all these pilots are from all of that stuff. And I'm like, I didn't read or play any of that. Now, of course, Brian Auer probably knows every one of those characters on that list.
I'm sure he does. He's got a much deeper knowledge than we do. But if you go down the list, it was like 50 on the list.
Mm-hmm.
And you go through and it's like, sure, like Wedge and Luke and all this stuff. And you're going through and then it's like, who? Like you just keep going down this list. And then I'm thinking the whole time as I'm looking at the names, oh, maybe I should know their name, but I know who they're talking about.
Yeah.
So I'd read the little blurb and I'd be like, nope.
I love how they all have fucking backstories. Like they came from this planet and this is the war they were involved in. And I'm like, Jesus, man.
There is so much material out there that it's easy to flesh out a character pretty quickly. We narrowed our scope, I think, a little bit more. At least I did. But I wanted to kind of go through and pick maybe your top 3 or 5 X-Wing pilots you like. Maybe do some honorable mentions. Maybe a dishonorable mention in there if we'd like.
Okay.
So who do you have as kind of like top of your list?
Well, I mean, the top is I don't think you can even include because obviously he's a fucking Jedi like Luke, right? But I mean, you can't ignore what he did with the X-Wing, or he fucking 1 in a million shot and blew up a Death Star. So obviously, he's a war hero in just that alone. But so do we count him or do we exclude him just because obviously he's tops?
I think you could go either way on that. But the thing I was thinking about with that is 1, yes, he's a Jedi, which gives him a leg up. 2, I mean, he's the obvious choice. But like I was thinking back to some of his X-Wing stuff because he does a lot of X-Wing stuff, but not as much as a lot of these other guys.
Right.
But 2 things that kind of go back and forth. 1 is the fact that he goes from never having piloted an X-Wing before and then being like, you're fine, go ahead, to, hitting the money shot is one thing. Also, the first act he does when he goes into the Battle of Yavin is just stupid. He goes in and just starts trying to blast the surface and almost fucking fries himself. Like it's like total video game thing. I'm gonna blow everything up.
He was just testing out the weapons. Gotta see how this thing works.
Exactly. It's testing out. He didn't have a test run. He didn't have time. He just got back on this goddamn Millennium Falcon.
All he ever did was fucking drop shit on Womp Rats before, This
and that was a
X-Wing's an
T-16.
upgrade.
That wasn't this X-Wing. So yeah. Okay, so if you want to exclude him, we can do that. So who else you got?
I mean, I think we can spend some time on Biggs only because I want to see, like, Now I'm podcasting, so the name escapes me, and it just came to me right now, so why wouldn't it have? But I want to see a movie based on Biggs, but directed in the style of Boogie Nights, right?
Because of that stash?
Yeah. And bring back, like, a Burt Reynolds type character.
Oh, yeah.
But he's got to be like that 70s pimp walking around Tatooine with a cape.
Yeah.
Just, like, giving sage advice to people who don't want to hear it.
Yeah, people forget he rocks the cape in the deleted scenes of A New Hope. So you do get some of that action. And he's kind of a big swinging dick when he's talking to Luke in that scene. Luke's like this sniveling little kid essentially to him. He's kind of the but then once those roles kind of obviously flip once we get to the Battle of Yavin.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's him vouching for Luke that gets him into that seat. So respect to Biggs.
Apparently neither of them were really, he's pretty fucking cocky, but he's on Tatooine, he's on a goddamn desert. So what are they? They're blowing up Sarlacc pits, and that's about it, unless someone comes to hang out there. But there's really nothing to do there but fly around the fucking canyons and blow up fucking desert rats. So, but obviously he's good enough because he makes it all the way to the Death Star. Now Biggs dies though, right? He's one of them that dies in the trench.
He takes the last shot. While from Vader. While he's trying to hold off the crew and Luke's trying to take the shot.
And then Wedge is the one that he's, get out of here, you can't do any more help.
Well, we'll get to Wedge in a minute. A lot of mixed emotions about Wedge. But yeah, Biggs deserves a lot of credit because he like you said, he's the guy who's trying to hold him off and give him the shot. By the way, tip of the cap to you, sir. I just noticed what your shirt says. Got his X-Wing shirt on.
Oh, you know what? When I even planned, I was talking to Kyle earlier. And she's like, "What are you doing today?" And I was telling her we're recording we're recording. She's like, "Well, you're wearing the right shirt for it." And I was like, "Oh, I am." Yeah.
For the actual topic. Well done.
I showed up in my gear.
Yeah, the one that I had as kind of my number one was Poe because I think he's the most skilled by far. Like the shit he does in the saga is unbelievable. Like the Takodana stuff alone when he comes in. When there's like, oh, the resistance is here. There's that shot, that continuous shot where Finn's kind of from Finn's perspective. He takes out stormtroopers, like pinpoint, who are holding them hostage, then kills, I think, takes out 9 TIE fighters or something in about 21 seconds.
He's like a double ace in 20 seconds. In that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just hammers them. So, it's hard he's just done some crazy shit.
Well, and this is the one TIE fight, like if we're going to talk in TIE fighters, a lot of this we have to go on like story or whatever. This is like, we've seen it happen.
Yes,
even in, is it the Rise of the Skywalker? What's the one where it opens up, where he goes up to the ship, talks shit?
The Dreadnought?
Yeah, and then does the side swipe. Last Jedi, yeah. Like he's cocky. He can fly that damn thing. He's got air brakes on it, apparently. Like, we get to see him actually use that ship. Like, it reminds me of like, remember when you were a kid and you had the little 3-wheeler and you had the little fucking slide brake on it? Right. That's what he is, but in an X-Wing.
He is. Yeah. He's technically the best pilot.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Just from a technical perspective, I think. And obviously he fires the kill shot on Starkiller Base, or kill shots, I guess. Leads the attack on Exegol. Just legendary record.
Is he, I was trying to think, because obviously he can fly more than the X-Wing, but is he piloting the Millennium Falcon at the beginning when they get the of Skywalker, and then they start doing the flash jumps,
because they come back running back up.
Because Finn's the one that gets the information from the guy.
He must be.
Yeah.
Yeah, he must be.
I've only seen that movie full once, so.
Yeah, I need to go back and watch it again. I think you're right, though, because it's the two of them, Chewie, and then just the droids?
And there's like a fucking Porg there, too, right?
Yeah, there's some Porgs.
Yeah.
But yeah, because Rey's not with them at that time. She's training.
Right.
So I think
he's flying.
You must be right.
Him and Chewie are flying.
But I think when you think X-Wing, like legendary pilot, I think it's him. Not to put him over Luke, But like technically, he's got way more fucking kills and he's got way more experience. I'm just saying, Luke's obviously he's got that Force shit on his side. So.
Right? Yeah. He's the shit without the Force.
That's right. But I think also if other than Poe, the person you think of when you think X-wing fighter is
Porkins.
Yes. Poor guy. I thought for so many years it was Jet Porkins. It's Jet
name alone. Like name alone. You can't discount Porkins. But I mean, he must have had Polaroids on anybody that was in the military to move up because they had to custom design a cockpit for him.
He's not that big, but the shot they show though, the one person put in of like him holding like the fast food. While
that's my. Like, I can't unsee that. Like that's my version. That's my special edition.
So bad.
It's like he's got fucking.
You got holding the drink like
900 orders of Chick-fil-A sitting on the dashboard.
Because he says, "Hold on a second or whatever." No, but I think if you look at the lore, I think he's like a double ace or something. Like he's got a ton of kills. So respect to Porkins.
Well, I mean, he's the guy that like just played video games his whole life, right? And then just jumped into a cockpit and was like, "Oh, this is the same."
It's like that video. That's like that movie that just came out, the Gran Turismo game.
Right. It's not even out yet. It comes out in August.
It's not out yet.
We'll count that now. Yeah.
Okay. We'll call it now.
Ready Player
Somebody
One.
might be listening to this months from now. Who knows? It's out now. Go see it. No, I was going to say Wedge, because he's the one that's always there. Yeah. He's the one that's part of all these missions. He's the one you see. Now, I have ragged on him a bit in the past for his quick departure on the trench run. And I watched it again last night just to kind of make sure of exactly how it transpired.
See if you were in the wrong or not.
I mean, he gets out of there pretty quick.
You're no good back there, Wedge.
Sorry. I always think of Cole doing that. Sorry. Yeah. He takes a shot and goes, "I'm hit. I can't do anything." Like immediately. And Luke goes, you get out of here. You're no good back there. And Biggs is like, we could use another guy here. This is me now. Fuck.
Like if they were going to make the Rogue Squadron movie, I want it to be like Maverick, but like Maverick's haunted by Goose's death, but I want Wedge to be haunted by like, "You're no good back there." That's all he hears in the back. He's got to make things right.
Looking at his hands, he's holding Porkins dog tags. Oh my God. But obviously Wedge, huge part of the entire Star Wars story. I mean, he saved Luke's bacon before that because Luke's about to get blown up by a TIE fighter. And he was the wingman for Lando, of course, when they blew up the second Death Star. And
right. And he was there on Starkiller.
He was not there on Starkiller.
I thought wasn't he there on Starkiller base?
No, he was on the Falcon at Exegol.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking of.
Operating like one of the cannons.
Yeah. But
he, of course he did all the other shit. Hoth, which I know is not an X-wing.
Right.
He's all over that Aftermath series, by the way. That trilogy. He does a lot of shit there. He was in Rebels. We saw him in Rebels as a younger
that's right.
guy. I remember that. So, but I wanted to get into the story of Fake Wedge.
Who, like, if I'm thinking correctly of the guy that's Fake Wedge, doesn't Fake Wedge have more dialogue than Wedge in all three movies?
No. He only actually has one line.
Oh, I remember this conversation on, was it Hoth?
No. It's so here's what happened. So there's the mission briefing with General Dodonna.
Yes.
Where he's giving them the briefing in A New Hope.
Yes, that's what.
And that's when it's a different actor. And the guy's name is Colin Higgins. And so it's not Dennis Lawson at that point. Apparently he beat out Dennis Lawson for the role.
Oh, wow.
And then they circle back around.
Oh.
Because I guess he had a hell of a time with his lines. I mean, how many lines did you have, dude?
Right.
Not that many. In the end, the only line he says is, "That's impossible, even for a computer." That's the only line he ever said.
Okay.
He only filmed for one day. That was it. And it's not even his voice, by the way. It's
I didn't even know until I was reading this article that because they were all British, all the pilots were dubbed.
Is it all of them or just? I just knew about Wedge and this dude, but it could be
the one said the British actors.
Yeah. They want him to sound American because the Brits were. I mean, there were some, I guess, on the Rebels, but essentially the British accents were the Imperials.
Right. Yeah.
So, which is I always laughed about the whole Leia thing, where she had a British accent for about 2 seconds, and then all of a sudden it went away. When she first comes on board the Death Star and is talking to Tarkin, she sounds like she's got an accent, and then all of a sudden it goes away. It's hilarious. Go back and watch that scene again. You'll be like, "Oh." She's like, "I, smelled your foul stench when I came on board." Like she's doing this voice. It's like, That's not
It was
your
a
voice.
royalty. And then just the snotty woman came out.
Maybe that's what it was.
I wonder if Lucas was like, yeah, this isn't working, and like she had to ADR everything.
It could have been. Yeah.
Interesting.
Like how far in did they get?
Yeah.
I'm sure it's in the making of, and I just haven't seen it. But David Ankrum is the voice that you hear. But then starting in Empire, it's Dennis Lawson's voice. He does an American accent, so it changes. But yeah, this guy just had the one day of shooting, the one line, that one scene, which always cracks me up because it always reminds me of the Family Guy or whatever it was remake where he says that, it's not
Blue
impossible.
Harvest?
I used to bullseye womp rats. He's like, hey, Luke, can I talk to you for a minute? Why do you gotta say that in front of everybody?
We should do an episode or 2 or 3 on just the Family Guy episode.
Oh, we should. God,
Yeah.
they're so fucking funny.
I don't know if I've ever seen the third one. I've seen Blue Harvest,
Yeah.
and because there's all 3, right?
I think they did 3. Then also, I don't know if you ever saw Phineas and Ferb did a whole thing on it.
I
That
never
was
saw those.
That was kind of funny
Okay.
because my kids used to watch that show.
Yeah,
so I
so do my
watched it.
kids.
It was pretty entertaining. Anyway, so so there was this other Wedge, and then eventually Dennis Lawson circled back, came back, took over the role, and the rest is history. But essentially 3 actors who played Wedge in the end. Have you ever read any of those from a certain point of
I haven't.
From a certain point of view? Okay, so I told you I've been reading them. I think
Yep.
we're on Empire still, like maybe halfway through. But in the A New Hope version, there's a story about a pilot, and they call him Fake Wedge because they say he looks so much like Wedge. It's obviously taken from the lore of this Fake Wedge thing
Okay.
and then turned into a story. But there's another pilot who looks just like Wedge so much that they call him Fake Wedge. I love when they turn that shit.
So
into
is the reason for the 2 actors like not being replaced just coming down to not affording the reshoots, like getting everyone back together for that scene of him on the briefing? So they just used 2
I guess
versions?
so, because the only person you'd really just have to do, I mean, there's a guy like kind of in the front, just in front of Luke, you can see. Otherwise, it's just Luke and this guy. Like the back headshot, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't be able to tell.
So weird.
You wouldn't have to do everybody in the room. You just have to do those 3 people, essentially. Maybe George will fix this in another remastered version later.
Well, that's what I'm thinking, right? Like he had to have been aware of this when he did the remasters, right? The special editions. So why didn't he just plug in, get fucking Homeboy to come back for a day and put his face over?
Maybe they tried it and they were like, well, a couple things. One, he looks different now. It doesn't work right. They didn't have the de-aging.
They didn't have the de-aging process.
Yeah,
then,
so it won't work. Or they tried it and it was real blocky and shitty looking. They're like, forget it. Let's just leave.
Maybe it just comes down to like the guild, like the act, like he gets residuals for that line, so they can't do anything to him.
Who else you got on your list of your favorite?
Biggs, Porkins, Poe, Luke, and Wedge is who I had on my list.
Okay. I also had Garven Dreis, who is the Red Leader, the guy who leads the initial attack. Yep. This motherfucker nearly, I mean, he has a successful trench run and nearly puts it in the pickle barrel. Like he comes so close. Imagine the reaction if he got that. Do you know how much ass he'd have gotten on Yavin?
Oh,
that guy would be swimming in it.
Yeah, because Luke didn't.
No.
Virgin.
No, he's out the door. He's kissing sisters.
He's got his eyes on his sister. He's like, I can't.
Garvin would have come back and been like, everybody see that?
Oh, yeah.
I think,
yeah. He's wearing Biggs capes. Like, just, that's all he's got on.
We also got a little action of his in Rogue One, too. Remember they did that recycled footage and kind of showed him show up there as well, a battle over Scarif.
That's right.
By the way, on the trench run for just a second, as I was watching that scene again, I thought, I mean, aside from the fact that it's got the dirtiest line ever uttered in Star Wars, and that is General Dodonna saying it's a small thermal exhaust port right below the main port. But why start the trench run so far back? Why not go in a little bit closer?
Yeah.
Why do you got to make the whole run? Why do you got to do that? Why don't you just drop in when you're real close to
I think
the shot?
they were getting in when they could get in,
I just thought, they know where it is. They know where the eventual shot has to be made.
I mean, they were like, they were men of a certain caliber that knew that there had to be a little bit of foreplay. You don't just go right into the hole.
Exactly. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Right. If you're going to go for the main port, you should,
whether it's above the exhaust port or not, like
whichever one you want to hit.
Yeah, you got to warm it up a little bit.
You got to warm it up.
You ain't blowing anything up just going right into that hole.
Oh, the trench run.
Oh.
What a name.
Can we name this episode Dirty Adult Trench Run?
I also had Carson Teva on there. That's the guy we saw in The Mandalorian. Because I think we're going to see a lot more of them.
I didn't put any of them down because we really don't know anything about them. Because like I want to put down Wolf Trapper, right? Is that his name? Wolf Trapper?
Trapper.
Just because of the name.
Yeah, right.
You know?
It was Wolf Trapper, Jib Dodger was Famuyiwa, and Sash Ketter is Deborah Chow.
Mm-hmm.
True, but we don't know much about Porkins either, and you got him on your list. So I'm just saying, I think we're going to see so much more of Carson Teva later on that I think he's going to become a big X-Wing like icon. Who else did I have? Snap Wexley was on there. That's the guy, who's J.J. Abrams' buddy, whatever that guy's actor's name is.
Right. Greg Gungberg?
Yes, right.
Yes.
But he's all over that Aftermath series too, as a kid. I mean, shit, he makes the Starkiller run and survives that. It's not till Exegol when he bites it.
I was going to say, Greg, he had to die. Gunberg dies in everything Abrams does. Like, he was already the dead pilot, right? He was the dead pilot in Lost.
Was he? I forget how that fucking show even worked. I watched the whole thing, and I totally, I don't even remember how it all fits together.
Was it season 2, season 3, where they're on the other side of the island at the same time they're running into the others? Okay. When they find the one plane hanging from the trees, I think Gungberg is the dead pilot.
Okay. Yeah. I just know he shows up at all because he was an Alias, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he's
Does
always
he die
got
in
a
Alias?
bit part, probably. I hope so. If he doesn't, we're gonna retcon that.
He's literally the Sean Bean. I have Antok Marin, who is Blue Leader in Rogue One. That's the dude with the stash. So
before Poe Dameron becomes Blue Leader.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So he goes in there and fucks shit up. He like smokes that AT-AT, and so I said AT-AT. AT-AT, Matt. AT-AT. Stick with your gun. God. Fuck! I'm turning myself into a horrible person.
I'm firing.
I think he gets sniped by a TIE Defender later. And then the only other person I had on there is a dishonorable mention.
Oh, good. I was hoping we'd have one because I didn't put one down.
Niv Lark. He's the guy who's like, in a Scottish accent, is like, good luck, Poe, in Starkiller Base run. The reason why I have him on my list for dishonorable is because it's the same actor who played that shithead Tim in Andor.
Shithead Tim in Andor.
The guy who fucking
really?
sold Andor out. Same actor.
Yeah. The boyfriend of Binks. What do we call her?
You call her Biggs.
Yeah.
Her name is Biggs.
Yeah.
So his name is Niv Lark in that movie. So fuck Niv Lark.
Fuck him.
I can't separate
Niv Lark and Toro Callahan.
Toro Callahan. I like that.
Yeah.
Big Tom Callahan's son?
Yeah. Wasn't it Toro? No. What was it?
Calacan. It's a dumb name. I get why you say that. The man literally has the same name as a lawnmower company.
Well, it doesn't live in my head like it does yours. So
yeah, definitely.
I was close.
Head. Oh God, fucking hate that guy. I think that was all I had. I mean, yes, Brian Hour, go ahead and write in and tell us about all your favorite X-Wing pilots that we were not aware of. Anybody else have any favorite X-Wing pilots or issues? We like those even more. Send them in. Let us know.
Yeah. See if we can beat the 9-email streak next week.
That's right. Let's go to the Maul Bag. Check out this shit. Okay, ready?
Yes.
Okay. There's 9 emails. Here's the first 7.
Oh. Okay.
All from Ken Kallenbach. Please do not quit the show, Jay.
No shit.
He sent me 7 emails. So I see these emails come through, and I DM him and go, Ken, I think you've been hacked because I got 7 emails from your account. And I think that's probably wrong. He's like, no. I'm sending it in to make sure you get 7 emails so Jay doesn't quit the show. And I was like, oh, shit. Totally missed that. Right over my head.
All right, Ken, you saved the show. Well, at least you saved me from leaving the show. I threatened to leave so much, I forgot I did it again.
In quick succession, when I'm looking at my inbox, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I thought it included, like, whatever his job was or something. So I was like, did he send this from his work mail, like, by accident? Like, what's going on here? So I was confused. Thank you very much, Ken.
All right, I'm going to stick around.
Okay, email number 8. Brian Hour. Hello to my favorite scoundrels. I'm currently in Hoth, Canada, where I'm visiting Luke and Leia, Chris and Kristen, before heading down to the land of Endor as I fly by Matt's pleasure palace of sabers and sauciness.
Wow. I have a question real quick.
Yes.
He's referring to them as brother and sister.
Oh, good point. Oh, yeah. I didn't think about that. Oh.
How did you not think about that? Like, I mean, they have children together, Brian.
Oh, no. Can't say that, Brian. Han and Leia would have worked.
Yeah. In fact, maybe like just out of respect, you say Han and Leia in the rest of his email.
Edit that out.
Yeah.
No, I want Chris's response.
Kristen's going to be sealed shut for a month, and Chris is just going to have a hard time getting a semi now. Like, these poor Canadians.
Oh, shit. Yeah, so he's on this massive road trip.
Yes,
like,
I know.
He drove all the way up to Canada, and then I guess you're going to find out in a second, he's already blown through my state. I didn't even know I didn't know that was coming.
So he goes all the way up there to see them and doesn't stop to see you.
He blew by. And he says, he said in a tweet, was it today or last night or something? He said he drove 1,850 kilometers yesterday. That's 1,150 miles in one fucking day.
He's nuts. He came up here for Podtoberfest and he drove it straight.
Oh, how far is that?
I believe he drove it straight. He drove from, he lives...
He's in Dallas.
I think is he south of Austin? Because he was like 3.5 hours away, or was it 6 hours when I was down there? Because I messaged him and said if we could meet up somewhere or find a spot, but it was too far to kind of come up with something that weekend. But he drove that all the way to Michigan. And then stayed awake because he came in while we'd already started Podtoberfest, and at one point we look over and he's sawing logs.
He had to be.
Yeah. He was up for like an hour or so.
I think he lives near Dallas. Dallas to Grand Rapids is 1,110 miles, so it's almost the same amount of what he just drove yesterday.
He's a champion, man.
Fucking machine, man. So he says, he keeps going with it. I gotta say it. Luke and Leia could not believe that A, I showed up, and B, that I made it in just 2 days. I explained that Jay knows best that I'm faster than the Falcon making the Kessel Run and will always be on time. Love the sitcom ideas, but let's also get some Imperial action.
Oh.
So he lists some shows that he wants. Homicide Life in the Deep, Coruscant ISB show about a bedrock precinct. Rule and Order 66, biopic of Palps and his views on the Rule of Two and Order 66. Like interviews with him?
Yeah.
Personally, I don't know about this Rule of Two thing. I'm just trying to go along with it. Yeah. But I got something big coming. Orders 61 or 1 through 65, not the best, but 66. That's where it's at. Sweating to the Bernies, lose weight and have fun as your favorite Sith and mine, Lord Vader, tortures a lucky contestant every week. Oh, good job, Brian.
It's like a Japanese game show.
Yeah, something like that. He sent a second email. Ooh. Greetings, scoundrels, calling you from the fertile valleys of Naboo, a.k.a. Oregon. So he's literally writes as he's in Oregon. As I'm cruising the Columbia River hyperspace lane currently, I want to make sure we have plenty of Maul Bag emails as I'm wandering my way around this, I will say, glorious country because it's iffy depending on which state you're in nowadays. Just letting you know I'm here and I'm listening. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Fucking keep those hands on the wheel, buddy.
Yep. I like that he's checking in. I thought he was doing
nice.
I thought at one point he had posted a picture a while back. He was planning a trip. I thought he was going to do like the coast of California or something.
I think that's where he is now.
Okay. I'll say he had like this massive like trip that he was doing driving. And I'm like, you're insane.
Are you stopping at all?
I know.
Because you're putting in a lot of miles. Like, go ahead and stop.
Is he enjoying the trip just by looking out the window?
Stop and smell the roses, man.
Yeah. He stops at gas stations and sends out postcards like proof of life and then hits the road again.
No, he just hands them to the guy, flings him out the window as he drives by. I mean, shit, he's got to be blowing through gas because he drives like some big truck,
he's got a big old, I don't know if it's a diesel, but yeah, he's got a big truck.
Oh, man.
So he's comfortable, but he's crazy.
Stay safe, Brian.
Did Snickers go with him?
I'm assuming.
He's got to have pictures like Snickers looking out the window.
Yeah.
Playing Willie Nelson.
I would hope he's playing some Willie Nelson. Yeah, for those who don't know, Snickers is his dog, his beloved dog, who has his own Twitter account, by the way.
Right.
So go follow that. All right, that was it for emails.
That's it. That's all we got. We will return in 2 weeks.
That's right. We're off next week, 2 weeks, and we will be, I believe, picking up with our Resistance coverage. We're going to do the first season of Resistance.
We're doing the first season or the first half?
First half for the first week. I'm just saying we're going to do back-to-back episodes. We'll do the first season. Then I think we've got like there's the Mando season 3 making of in there. Yep. We're going to have a guest on. So we'll break up. We'll probably do one season, do a couple things, and then do the other season.
Let's do it. All right. So we'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Thank you so much for listening. Please send in your 9 emails or more. And until next time,
laugh it up, fuzzballs.
We have spoken.